December 7th, 1941. Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Japanese Mitsubishi A6M Zero fighters return from their devastating attack on the American Pacific Fleet. Pilots land on their carriers, laughing, celebrating. The mission was perfect. The Americans were caught completely by surprise. In the debriefing rooms, Japanese pilots described the American resistance as pathetic. American fighters that did manage to get airborne were slow, clumsy, outdated. The Zeros danced around them like falcons toying with pigeons. One Japanese ace, Saburo Sakai, later recalled the sentiment of that day. "We believed no American aircraft could challenge the Zero. Their pilots were brave, but flew inferior machines. The war would be short." The Japanese had every reason for this confidence. Their Mitsubishi A6M Zero was the best carrier-based fighter in the world, faster than any American fighter, more maneuverable than anything the Allies could field, longer range than seemed physically possible. And for the first 6 months of the Pacific War, they were right. The Zero dominated the skies. American pilots died in obsolete aircraft, outclassed and outfought. But what the Japanese didn't know, what they couldn't have predicted, was that American engineers were building something that would turn Japanese laughter into screams. Over the next 4 years, approximately 3,000 Japanese pilots would die fighting a fighter they initially dismissed as too slow to matter. This is the story of the aircraft that transformed the Pacific War. The plane that proved speed isn't everything. The fighter that killed more Japanese pilots than any other aircraft in history. This is the story of the F6F Hellcat and the iron price Japan paid for mocking it. To understand why the Hellcat mattered, we must first understand what made the Zero so terrifying. The Mitsubishi A6M Zero entered service in 1940. Its specifications were remarkable. Maximum speed, 534 kilometers per hour, 331 miles per hour. Range, 3,000 kilometers, 1,850 miles. Climb rate, 15.7 meters per second. Armed with two 20mm cannons and two 7.7mm machine guns. But the real secret was weight, or rather, the lack of it. The Zero weighed just 1,680 kilograms empty. By comparison, American fighters of 1,941 weighed 2,000 to 2,500 kilograms. This light weight gave the Zero extraordinary maneuverability. It could turn inside any Allied fighter. It could outclimb anything in the sky. In a dogfight, Zero pilots had total confidence: stick with the enemy, turn tighter, climb faster, shoot them down. American pilots learned this the hard way. Early 1942, the Philippines fall, Singapore falls, Burma falls, Java falls. Everywhere Japanese forces advance, the Zero rules the sky. American P-40 Warhawks, the primary American fighter in the Pacific, cannot compete. The P-40 is slower, less maneuverable, outranged. American pilots die trying to dogfight Zeros. Claire Chennault, commander of the Flying Tigers in China, issues desperate tactical bulletins. Do not dogfight the Zero. Do not attempt to follow it in a climb. Do not try to outturn it. These tactics are suicide. So, what should American pilots do? Chennault's answer: dive attacks only. Use your superior dive speed. Attack from above. Dive through. Extend away. Never engage in turning combat. These tactics work barely. The Flying Tigers achieve favorable kill ratios using hit-and-run tactics, but it's a defensive strategy. The Americans are playing not to lose rather than playing to win. And the Japanese know it. They laugh at American fighters forced to flee rather than fight. June 1942. The Aleutian Islands. A Japanese Zero fighter crashes in the marsh on Akutan Island. The pilot dies in the crash, but the aircraft remains largely intact. American forces discover it weeks later. They carefully extract the Zero from the marsh, ship it to Naval Air Station North Island in San Diego, and begin the most important analysis of the war. American engineers disassemble the Zero piece by piece. They study every component. They test fly it against American fighters. They measure performance exactly. And they discover both the Zero's strengths and, crucially, its critical weaknesses. The Zero's lightweight comes at a cost. No armor protecting the pilot. No self-sealing fuel tanks. The aircraft is a masterpiece of minimalism. Everything unnecessary removed to save weight. This makes it agile. It also makes it fragile. A single .50 caliber bullet through a fuel tank means fire. A burst into the cockpit means the pilot dies. The Zero can dodge and weave brilliantly, but if hit, it dies. American test pilots also discover the Zero's high-speed limitations. At speeds above 350 miles per hour, the Zero's controls become